Good morning, everybody. It is March 20th, 8:25 a.m. Thanks for joining me, whoever did. This banking crisis is getting insane. All right, so you had to be sleeping in the cave in order to not see that Credit Suisse was purchased by UBS, I think for 2 billion. Um, that sent UBS stock a little lower. Um, just a lot of stuff going on. People arguing over is this QE or QT with the Fed's balance sheet. There's opposing views on that. Um, Also, that what I just saw too with news was that Goldman Sachs expects a pause this week, but then JP Morgan expects the 25 basis point rate hike. So it's just all over the place. Gold shot up past 2,000 today. Um, it's below that now. We'll go over a bunch of stuff. So let's just get into the watch list. Bitcoin's flying high, 28,435. It's up 5.31%. The VIX is up 3.7%. 3 point, I say 5%. Let's see what else. Gold, 1989. All right, it was past 2,000 earlier. It's up 0.83%. Silver is up 0.77%. The 10-year yield is up 0.77%. Russell is up 0.51. The Dow is up 0.08. The ES and NQ are basically flat, but they were down a lot in the overnight. So they kind of just bounced off the lows. The dollar is down slightly, and bonds, 30-year bonds being sold, and crude is getting hit. It's down 0.96%. A lot of that is because of this unknown banking thing, less demand. So that's causing some crisis for crude and pricing in probably coming recession coming in. So a lot of things are happening this week, and obviously everybody knows about the Credit Suisse thing. Um, we'll just get into what are we looking at this week for as far as major economic events. Um, of course, today's there's not much news. Tomorrow we have existing home sales at 10 a.m. All right, on Wednesday is the big day. That's the FOMC. Okay, so we'll find out exactly what they're doing. Pause or 25 basis point rate hike, right? Thursday is more initial jobless claims and new home sales. And then on Friday, we have core durable goods. Then we have Bullard speaking, manufacturing PMI, S&P Global Composite, services PMI. So that's got some nice. But today, tomorrow will fairly be quiet. But then FOMC will be huge for Wednesday. Okay. Let me go back to the watch list and just finish off what else is going on. Obviously, we got the coin is up 3.45%, no doubt, for Bitcoin. That's tied to Bitcoin. Meta had an upgrade. It's also trying to do a service that has verified users to generate some revenue there. You'll get like some kind of blue highlight. So they're trying to do that, similar to like Twitter. Look at that, very interesting. Goldman Sachs, I mean, this is not a big, huge move, but it's up 0.15%, right? Laggards, Tesla is down. First we'll start with Google, is down 0.91. Tesla's down 1.13. That stock's been hit a little bit late as of late. Bob is down 1.16. All right, no really strong one off the bat here in the top sector stocks. Okay, let's go to the bottom. There's not really a laggard to speak of, really. Oil, Chevron and Exxon, but they're not down too much, right? The only big laggard here in sectors is the energy, down 1.27%, because crude's down. No really leader to speak of, right? So we got the news we covered. I mean, economic data we covered. Another key thing I wanted to show was also what the Fed did. Let's right here. The Fed opened up swap lines further. As we've been saying, most global debt is priced in USD and it remains a safe haven currency. The recent collapse of Credit Suisse has put pressure on demand for the US dollar, and the Fed swap lines are meant to provide temporary liquidity to foreign governments so they don't have to dip into their USD reserves. This will reduce the price of the dollar, and it is done by the Fed to make sure the price of credit in the US doesn't become onerous. Raising rates will drive up the USD as it is in this move, also to ease some of that move. As you know, this is from Mayhem and Market, so that's why he says, as Mayhem pointed out Twitter yesterday, this was done in 2007 and something that's done in times of additional systemic stress. It says U.S. equity futures are off their overnight lows. Gold crossed 2,000 while crude fell further, crossing below 65. This is the market's pricing in a recession. Bitcoin, however, remains buoyant, crossing 28,000 over the weekend, as the market continues to misinterpret the injection of liquidity as easing, just like I was saying before. So I just wanted to mention that. All right. Next, we're going to look at some. We'll just get into. Well, actually, let's just look at the. Give me one sec here. Let's look at the Fed's watch tool here, just to show you guys what's going on. This is kind of changing constantly, but right now, market's pricing a 34.3% chance of no hike, like basically a pause, and a 65.7 chance of a 25 basis point rate hike. So that's where we stand right now. Okay. Now we can get into the daily charts here. Let's get into the market. All right. Here's the SPY with my anchored view ups, and you know, we drove higher. We opened up here. We went higher, but then we closed down here in the ES. Got some weakness. Now we closed under this. All the anchor view ups were below it still. Okay. So now I have a fib driven from this high to this low, and basically, far as we've gotten, retracement is 38.2%, a little past that, but now we're kind of hanging out here. Okay, 50% retracement would be around 399.48, which I would say around 400. Would see these anchor VWAPs are pretty much holding there, so that'll be very interesting if we do get a pop. What we do with that 50% retracement. Okay, so that's the SPY. Now, obviously, the SPY is weaker because of financials, Qs. Right? Let's load up those anchor VWAPs. All right. So you can see here with the Qs over the all-time high anchor VWAP and holding above, never drop below the anchor VWAP of the lows on the October. Okay, broke this downtrend line. So ripped up from here, right? And then what did it do? It hit the 308 resistance here. See these equal tops here? That's where crude came up. That's where the Qs came up and found selling. Right there. So that was a pretty easy resistance line to work off of. Okay, so crude. God, I keep seeing crude. So the Qs have been very strong, obviously, right? Tech is just tech. It's 100 stocks, so it's not very it's not mixed bag like the S&P, the Dow, or the Russell. All right, but right now we're at 304.86, so we're about here. So we're near the lows of Friday. That's where we're at right now. So what I did in the other thing, so I'm gonna draw a fib just to see here from these lows. Let's do that here. Let's go to these highs. Let's just see what 50% retracement would be. 50% retracement, look at that, on this level. So this level's got a lot of confluence, right? So 298.42 right here, which I have a level, and it's also the anchor VWAP from the all-time highs. 9 EMA daily. So that's going to be something. So I'm going to set an alert right here, right at the 50% retracement for the Qs, for this little move that's popping up, right? Because if it's strong, it won't cross that, and that could be a long, you know, possible long there. So we got to keep an eye on that. Okay, Qs are stronger. Just have to see. Now, for this market to be propelled lower, right? Because you hear a bunch of bears talking about the lows aren't even in yet. We're gonna head for a recession, right? You need these Qs to start making a move lower. Once that happens, the market's gonna fall because it's about 27%. Tech's about 27% of the S&P. So once tech starts to fall and you get at this exuberance out, that's when you'll see all the markets just start to capitulate. That's when I believe you will see that. That hasn't happened yet, right? Tech's kind of holding up, even though the S&P, the Dow are weaker, the Russell are weaker, but this tech is so strong right now. However, I might go over later that obviously there's some exuberance, there's some overextended moves. That doesn't mean that they can't keep going, but it's probabilities on the side that they need some type of pullback. I mean, look at this. The Qs is just ripped, right? So, I mean, we can just measure the move here. Let's see. So at one point, that was a what was that, a 8%, 8.4% move from this low to the high, and that's 5 days. That's a pretty big move. Okay. All right. So let's go into the triple headed monster here. All right. So what do we have going here? We're kind of like finding support here at this 3.4 yield in the 10-year. So this is kind of like our tipping point, right? You can see this has been support, 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 and we're back at support. So, start to lift off. Probably this is tech. Tech is really like based on this 10-year yield, because when the yield goes down, right, tech becomes more attractive to invest in. When the yields go up, tech doesn't become so attractive. All right, so let's look at the VIX. VIX, we're at 26.2 right now, so we're like, again, we moved all the way up here past 28. That was probably earlier with the market being so much lower. So still high volatility. Keep in mind, a 16 VIX means a 1% move, a 32 VIX means a 2% move. Dollar. Now the dollar is starting to get a little more weaker. Okay. Gold and silver making a little bit of a move. Probably euro making a move as well. It's the biggest part of the dollar is the euro, the largest percentage of the basket, how it's measured. So keep an eye on that. All right, let's go check out the Dow. Let's get rid of some of these VWAPs. All right, so the Dow made a move from here, so I have my fib. So the Dow has only been able to get up to a little past 23.6 retracement. Very weak, right? Goldman Sachs is one of the largest. I think the second largest holding. The largest holding is United Healthcare, and healthcare has not been strong. So this level is on my watch here, 323.17. Okay, you can see kind of like a bear flag here. Okay, the 200-day moving average has been holding as resistance right here. So 323.17, a definite level I'm looking at that you might look to get short here, depending on what happens. Now, more of a day trade because FOMC is coming up on Wednesday. Right now the Dow is actually up 319 right now, so it's actually around here right now. Closed here, but it's around here, so it's almost around the highs of the Friday. So let's look at the Russell. All right, so the Russell, you can see kind of a similar, not as point, but like look, regional banks got killed, right? That's a big part of the IWM, the Russell, right? This big range here with support has been support again, right? We're bouncing off it once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. Okay. I saw in the pre-market that this was being broken, but since then it's recovered. Okay. Now there's two ways to look at this with this financial crisis that UBS brought out Credit Suisse. Other stuff's happening with the First Regional Bank, with the Signature Bank, with the SVB. There's still a lot of stuff going on, right? And so you could take that two ways. Oh, the banks are being saved, or the fact that the banks are being saved is not good for our future. So that's the two different things. It could be a bull trap if we come up, if we come up, it could be a bull trap for the financials, right? That could just be your short. We really have to see what the FOMC says, because that's really pivotal this week, right? Because it could be looked as both ways. You pause, if the Fed pauses, right, no hike, well, then that tells the market, some people could take that as, well, this must be really messed up if we're pausing right now with inflation. You're supposed to be killing inflation. So it's between a rock and a hard place for the Fed, because if you pause, right, inflation can get out of hand. But then if you raise, you're weakening the banks, the financial sector, right? You're going to break something again. So they're in a bad position. Okay, so let's go back to the Russell. You have this big level here, 171. It's holding. I have alert set here because it's the top of this range. It's the top of this range right here. So that could be a good point, all right, to look for a possible short in IWM. So I have my eye on that. I have alert set. So all right, let's get into market profile. Environment profile, market profile. You know what I'm saying? All right, so let's look at the ES. All right, here's ES. Where's price? Right, 39.53, right there. Right. Most traded price of the week, 39.50. Right here. 39.50 happens to be the most traded price of Friday. Okay, anytime you see this, which I'm just pointing out, right? Most traded price of Friday, most traded price of the week, of the rolling week, right? And price is here. You know what that means? Market's waiting for information. Because look, the market was all the way down at 380.97, 38.97. That's the overnight low. Here's the overnight high. Here's Friday's high. Here's Friday's low. Where are we? We're pretty much in the middle of the range of Friday. There's not a lot of edge there. There's not a lot to read about it. Okay, look at the profiles, composite profile. So we got big volume here. No surprise, it's the most traded price of the week. Then we got a little more double distribution here, down here. Okay. And we're just above this. But it really means indecision. Just like I just talked about, the Fed, what is he going to do? Does a pause raise the market? Does a pause like go make the market go down? Does a hike make the market go down? Or does it, what is going to happen? So that's very hard to know, right? We have the FOMC on Wednesday. So the market's telling us right now it doesn't know. Right? Yeah, you went down here, but it got bought back up, right? Went up here, but it got sold. Doesn't know. All right, so what I feel today should be the plan is outside in trading. Now, unless there's a catalyst. Catalyst will ignore the technicals. Not fully, but it will ignore like immediate technicals around price. It could blow right through them. Okay? So this is no surprise to me where we're at all. You got a prominent POC too, a prominent point in control, which just means that the time has spent the most at this price right here on Friday. Usually they get revisited, they're magnets, and that's hence why price is hanging around it right now. Prominent POC. Let's just show you that to see what I'm talking about. Here's the Friday session, right? I'm going to blow it up for you guys to see the prominent POC. Eventually, I'm going to start to do some videos with like some keywords that I talk about, so it just makes it easier to know what I'm talking about. Okay, but we're going to go zoom in here. Now the POC, there's two different things in market profile. Okay, you have the POC, the volume POC, and you have the POC. All right, I'm not going to get too granular in here. I'm just going to give you that. So this is Friday's session. Okay, so you have the POC. POC means based on market profile. Okay, POC is point of control, and you can see here's the letters. This is the POC, and the POC just means that you've crossed this area multiple times, right? All it means is TPOs. These are what these are. These are just 30-minute bars. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 times price crossed this POC. So that's the POC is the 39.54 right here. That's called a prominent POC. It's a prominent point of control. It should act as a magnet. Okay, even if price was up here, I would expect price to revisit here. Okay, and then you have the volume point of control, right? Which is this hot pink line here. That's the most volume, but then POC is the most time. But kind of they're close together, so they're I put them together. They're not always together, because obviously volume and time aren't always going to match. But let's get back. Okay, I'm going to make these a little closer together now. All right, and then you can see here, maybe I can show you better here in the volume. So right here is the volume for Friday session, right? That's the most traded price. See how fat it is here? That's the POC. Okay, 39.50. So go back. Price is at 39.55 right now. The POC was 39.54 on Friday. That's not a surprise. Okay, so if we're going to talk about game plan today for me, all right, what I'm looking at, okay, you got supply zone here, you got monthly VWAP here, you got 9 EMA daily here. Okay, so you got a lot of stuff above here. Okay, so now that you know that, and now that you know we're kind of just in balance waiting, market moves up into the supply zone. Even if it cracks it a little bit, I'd be hesitant. And if we start making lower highs, then that's a short. Where you're going to target, right? You're going to target the most traded price of the week. Then you can hold a runner and see if we can take some of these single prints out into this demand zone here. You take some profit again. Okay. Now if the market was to make it up to this supply zone, that's another short, because then you have the 100-day moving average, you have the 20-day simple moving average. Okay. Then if you want to be a little more conservative and wait a little more, and then this could be your short, right? You would target most likely developing POC, developing volume point of control of today, which I won't know what would be, but that's what you could target. So that's what I would say, because like I said, we're waiting for information. FOMC is coming, right? People aren't going to be willing to just go long, especially with all this financial stuff, right? So what do we have as a long, right? Well, you can see that overnight came into this demand zone and we popped out of it. Okay, this demand zone has now been used almost fully. However, it doesn't mean it can't pop out of it, right? So as far as a long, okay, and this is your little like scale here, your most traded price of the week. That's the tipping point. Okay, so for the long, what you want to see is, even if we're up here and we come down here, you want to see how price reacts down here. Might even want to wait to see if it can break this low. If it can't, and we get a little, or if it does even, and pops up, right? And then we start doing lower high, lower high, lower high. You can tell sellers are getting in the hole. You can go long, right? And you can target developing volume point of control, or your target would be, no surprise, most traded price of the week. Now there's a lot of big levels above us. I don't expect to cut through all this. Could it happen? Yes. I would expect though the shorts to be broken before the long. There's less below for shorts. Okay, so if we do break these lows, which is the weak lows here, we could break it. There's a naked VPOC here, but we could break it and maybe go down to this demand zone. Do I say that's likely? I don't think that's likely, but it could. Now above us, what do we have above us, right? I just explained. You have a supply zone, you have the monthly VWAP, then you have the 100-day to 20-day simple moving average, then you have the most traded price of the month and of the rolling year above us. That's a lot to get through on the upside. I don't like that. That's a lot of overhead supply, a lot of big levels up above. So to just go long into, obviously, you know, that could work. I'm just talking about probabilities in the market. To me, I think it's going to be a balancing day. It's going to be you fade the edges. Okay. I'm just saying you could. I mean, let's just say you did get long. If you got long down here and you hold the runner, then like I'm not going to say hold on to it, but I'm just saying I don't like it up here. So that's that. That's for the ES. Let's look at the NQ. NQ, right? Now that NQ, for those who listened or watched my video on Friday morning, that weak low that I talked about in the NQ was beautiful. I said the move's gonna come, and I said wait until it holds below that demand zone. And it exactly did what I said. It flushed, it held, and then it went down again. Okay. So if we look, let's look actually like I said about that weak low. So you're not going to see it on this particular, you see it here. All right, it was a thing of beauty. So let's go here. That was all I was watching, that weak low. Now remember, the most traded price of Thursday was here with this overnight low. And I said, if the market came here and this was the decision point, I said if it pushed, I expected a flush, but then I said wait to see if we build value lower and hold, which we were doing. And I said, or wait for it to whip back up. So you can see right here in this bar, this is the bar right here that came and whipped right through it. And see, and then we held, and whipped down. It was a beautiful play. I didn't trade futures. I traded I shorted Netflix, hit all my targets based on that. That was a beautiful trade based on that weak low. That's why I love looking at profile. You don't see that stuff in candlesticks. And it was a combination of most traded price, volume POC. It was a combination of the overnight low, which you see in market profile. Okay, I know that some of this stuff looks like Chinese to like even to myself. Even to myself in the beginning, I was like, what the hell is this thing? What am I looking at? This doesn't look like candlesticks. This doesn't look familiar to me. I'm like, this is intimidating. Like, there's letters and there's like these weird shapes. I didn't understand it. But I love it because it gives me an edge. It gives me an edge where you can make trades based on this information. Most people just look at the SPY like I did earlier, and you're not looking at the overnight futures because they play a big part in levels. Okay. All right, let's get to the NASDAQ. All right, so the NASDAQ, overnight high, overnight low. Now check this NASDAQ out. It's going to show you perfectly why I think it's going to be a balancing market, right? Got supply zone here. Whenever I have this, right, a supply zone at the highs and a demand zone at the lows, I expect this today to bounce in and out of these levels. It's prettier in the NASDAQ. It's just a prettier look. Okay, and the NASDAQ has multiple distributions in the profile. Look, you got volume here, then you have like your single prints, no volume, and you got a little bit of a volume here, then you got a little no volume again, and then you got another big volume down here. So very ugly profile, volume profile. So we got the overnight low, the overnight high, Friday's high, and Friday came into supply, sold off, right? And where are we? Well, most traded price of the week, 126.50. Now I have to say that is bullish, right? Because it moved from up to here and we're above it. So that is bullish in the short term. Holding above this level is bullish. Okay, so that's a check for the bullish, right? Now, most traded price of Friday is right here. So they're all together here, which means balance, which means not a big edge, which means just like I talked about earlier, you're going to do outside in. That's the highest probability. We have big news coming. So obviously, very easy. Come into supply. If we can't break out of it, you're going to go short. Target here. Hold the runner. Target the demand. Same thing on the long side. Okay, if you wait for this, and either you're biased long, biased short, whatever you want to be. You could be short here, or you can say, okay, I'll wait for it to come back down because I think I'm going to buy the dip. And if it comes back down here, test these single prints, right? And we can't really hold under this demand, then you're going to go long back to the most traded price of the week, back to the current magnet. And of course, can the market do this? Could. I say highly unlikely. It could though, right? Could we break this? Got a lot of single prints down here with volume, right? Maybe news catalyst comes. Yes, single prints target this demand zone down here. I don't think that's likely, but you always got to keep your mind open. All right? That's what I'm looking at. All right, what else did I see here? Meta upgrade, Amazon got an upgrade, Coin as an upgrade as well. Coin, yes, the upgrade helps, but it's Bitcoin strength. I'm going to be looking for a pullback in Coin. Coin was so relatively strong. I had a trade on that too. I went long. That like, hey, what's up, Nathan? That oh man, it killed me because I almost hit my first profit target, and then it whipped back, and I saw the ticks really weak on the NYSE and the Nasdaq, and yeah, Nathan, you can see my what I think with the pink and the blue is gonna happen today. I just covered it, so once it's done, you can review it. And Coin really went to all my targets after that, so that was a good trade. Then, like I said, I actually did go long AMD, and that was so strong too, so relatively strong that I cut it for break even because I saw the weakness in the market, but it actually never hit my stop loss. And then I went over to Netflix, saw Netflix was relatively weak, hit a key resistance level, and then I got my nice short. So, so today, based on what the market's doing, I will look at the stocks of what I see We get supply zone for a Nasdaq. I'll look at relatively weak stocks. If we go into the demand zone, I'll look for relatively strong stocks. But coin, I really has my attention. So I'm a little hesitant because it has broken out, but Bitcoin is showing some strength, so we have to see. We have to see. Um, Real quick, I know it's 9. Crude just opened. Um, we can look at crude real quick. I can analyze it really quickly. Crude just opened, as you see, opened up into a demand zone. Let's see here. Let's look at crude together. I'll analyze it right here to what I see. Okay. First thing, most traded price of the week is here. Okay, that is 67.68. We have a supply zone right here. We opened up in, and this is called an open drive, lower. Opened here, it's driving lower. That's a sign of seller strength. Okay. Now, one thing to note. See, this is all you have to look at, right? See this node here, this volume. Very well, this can turn into the next most traded price of the week here. You might even see it in real time. If it comes back here, move down. When you move this down and keep moving it down, that means more like lower prices are likely. Okay, that means lower prices are likely. That just telling you, profile saying, oh, you know what? The market's accepting lower prices. The market's accepting lower prices. So if it moves here, then that's going to be more bearish, right, for crude. And then what happens if we move down here and we start building out another most traded price? Then you could possibility to move lower. Okay, see the open drive's holding right now to go lower. Now, what do I see as far as crude's structure in the market? Let's look at it. So you have an overnight low here, overnight high, big range. You got Friday's high, Friday's low. You're about 70% net. You were 70% net short at one point. Came all the way down here, but look, the overnight closed here up into the top of the range. So all of these shorts had to cover from this low. So you took them out, right? Now you have longs from here that could get punished. So everyone from here is long. And where did they go? Right to the most traded price of Friday. That's why these levels work, okay? Went right to the most traded price of Friday. So now it gives people an opportunity to then short into this strength. Now, the only thing that scares me about this, not scares me, but there's a lot of volume. That's a lot of volume for a move up. That means it just didn't rocket up. It was kind of like it moseyed up there with volume. So it's not going to be a clean just crush. So for me right now, there's not really a lot that I would love about crude right now. The one thing I'd only look at is if it comes up to here in this supply, which I like, lines up with the most traded price of the week here. Can't get above here. Now, think about this. Let's look at this. Let's pull out what crude did. Okay? If you look at the crude, this is how you have to look at the market, right? Came all the way down. Now guess what? We came all the way up. Okay? If now it's starting to move a little lower, which is fine. If we happen to move back up into here, now you got everybody could be long from here, from here, from here, right? And if it can't get above this most traded price of the week, and we start to come back into this range, that would be a nice short. That would be a very nice short. Okay. The only thing, I mean, if you're looking at patterns, if it did come back up here, you'd kind of have an inverse head and shoulders. Like a shoulder, a head, another shoulder could form here, and this would be the neckline. So you really have to make sure that you got weakness coming back through here, because this also could be a launch point for a long. Well, that's all the stuff you got to pay attention to. Now look, see, you're getting some little bit of buying. Crude's a little hard to read right now. It's just news sensitive, global economy sensitive, dollar sensitive. It's usually I love trading it, but it's not the easiest read as of late. Now you're gonna see, as I'm speaking, this is getting a lot of volume here. This is probably gonna move down. It probably will happen. It could happen literally before our eyes. So we'll just look at crude here. Let's see crude. I mean, if you look at it, right, you can see the volume. This is just, I really pay attention to the 24-hour volume, because crude just, that's the one I really pay attention to. All the volumes only, really, because it's such a heavily traded internationally and overnight stuff like that. So you can just see here, there is one day, here's 2 days almost equal, right? Then you have another day here, and now we're inside of that. So the move is from here, you want to come up to here, and then you make these longs play to go short. And if you come back down here, if you can't break it, you want to go long. All right, so I kind of got my plan that I want in crude. I'm gonna, like I said, crude's been a little harder to read of late. That's gonna be it for me. Hopefully, whoever was on here, I covered a lot of news. I covered a lot of thought of what the market's probably thinking right now, the probabilities of our trades today. I think it's going to be an outside-in day. I think it's going to be a range-bound day. Short the tops, buy the bottoms, fade the edges, whatever how you want to call it. That's what I believe is probability. But probability doesn't mean that's what it has to happen, right? You got to be open. So give me a comment, like, or subscribe. What you call it? There is this a community thing. I don't even know if it's working or not. But I posted something. Maybe it's not. But it's kind of like a community forum, I guess, on my channel. I don't know. I don't know if anybody sees any use of that. But maybe I'll start using it if we get some more interaction or whatever. But please share my feed, YouTube feed, to other people on Twitter. Retweet me. I'm at Gonzo719 on Twitter. So hopefully share my channel, or get the word out. I know I look at market profile a lot, which could probably turn off people because it looks like Chinese, it looks like hieroglyphics. But it really is something that I love to look at, because it just shows me the market in a different way than candlesticks do. I use candlesticks obviously as well, so it's not like I'm against candlesticks. Anyway, so stay patient, stay green. I'll do some type of market update if I see it's necessary. That's something really that I'm seeing in the market. One thing I did notice that I couldn't do a video. I had to take care of something I was going to do one on Friday. But the reason why the market, with that weak low, the ticks were just not getting above zero on the NYSE exchange and the Nasdaq exchange. And that was just a key sign that the market was going to fall lower. So when stuff like that happens, I want to jump on. Maybe I'll even do some live stuff eventually one day. But it's really important to look at those things. So anyway, enough from me. This was a long video, a little overdone, but I will see everyone tomorrow if I don't do an update. All right, thanks.